Swim. Oh, we're live. Hello. How are you?
Hi,
I'm
J.O.
Jonathan. Hi, Kitty. I'm Jonathan J. Owen.
And I'm Kitty Kennedy.
And what are we?
We are the Bourbon Know-It-Alls, which is a tongue-in-cheek bourbon review and education duo. So we try not to take ourselves too seriously, but tonight I'm taking myself seriously. This is a serious pour.
Yes, we are doing some very serious pouring, but the reason why we think we know things is
Well, because the more we drink, the more we know.
tongue in cheek. And I killed that off. Okay, so what I was drinking there, folks, was some Fighting Cock 103, just kind of get my palate awakened to a high ABV, high rye drink. So that's what I started with. What did you start with, Kitty?
I started with a store pick from a local liquor store named Grapevine. It's the Barrel.
Nice.
And it is 111. So same thing. I thought I'd get myself warmed up before I cracked open my do an uncorking of my George T. Stagg. But it is actually very delicious. I can't wait to go back to the store and just kind of give them a little bit of feedback. They've been really cool to work with. So it's a private barrel for Grapevine liquor store here in Lakeland.
Very nice. Okay, so let's see here. You and I are doing two different side-by-side comparisons of George T. Stagg. Now, what year are you doing?
I'm doing the 2019, and I bought that bottle primarily because it was the lowest proof bottle ever distilled for the BTAC. And I do have the 2020, but that's going to be a gift. And so I can't open it. But I am very excited to open this because my motto is what? Life is short, drink the good stuff.
Drink the bourbon, drink the good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I like to branch out and try other stuff that is not fully on the beaten path. I've been in the business long enough that my bottle
is almost empty.
Way into the back of my liquor cabinet. And as you can see, there's not much there. But this, my dear, is the 128.2 proof, which is what year?
2013?
Correct. Look at her knowing her bourbon. You really do know stuff, Kitty.
Hey, I try to keep up with you, J.O.
They're keeping up with me, huh? All right, so let's see here. We'll dive into this in a bit, but as we know, a little bit of fun facts about this was George T. Stagg was the first climate-controlled warehouse, in case you did not know that.
I did not know that.
Okay, fun. See, I drunk and I know things.
See, education duo.
Yes. Well, I could say I got drunk and I started to know things, but I knew things. This is back when it was the OFC, which was the old-fashioned copper distillery, and Buffalo Trace took over it. But it was just such an interesting flavor that it comes in at what is it? Roughly 15 years. They don't really give an age statement, but it's I'm going to say roughly 15. Am I correct in that? I do apologize if I am not correct.
You're correct. Yeah, my 2019 is 15 years in a few months, so it's a spring. I think it was a spring 2004.
I never understood why they don't put a label on it, as something with that the Eagle 17, the Saz 18, the Thomas Handy doesn't have one, and this guy doesn't. I wonder why. That's something in which I feel like somebody should really and truly dive into to try and figure out.
I wonder. I like that. I like it when they leave no doubt. I mean, I have to say is like that. I like having the number on the bottle. The age statement. So I don't know. That's a good question. Yeah. There's probably a know-it-all out there that could tell us.
I would love to. If not, maybe we can reach out to somebody and find something. But are you ready to dive in and drink some good stuff?
I am.
All right. Well, I'm gonna now. As I said, I've had this one for quite a while. I have been nursing on it. I probably haven't had a drink from it in about a year. So I hate to think that it may have oxidated a little bit, but it is not white. So, but I also have made sure that it gets a good seal. I take care of my bottles, but it has a ton of sediment. See that little black dot down there? That is
chunky.
all the jar. Oh yeah, that's the crunchy spider bite. So I'm going to give it a little bit of a mix up, and I'll let you go ahead and let's see you try and open yours. Should I play the Keystone Cops or Three Stooges music or something when you're trying to open?
It's awful. I don't know what happens to me. We have a lot of blooper footage of me trying to open up any bottle there is. So here is the George T. Stagg. I mean, can you see the label there? It's getting clearer.
I can see.
And, you know, it's interesting because there is not, I mean, these are uncut, unfiltered, and this is, you know, this is just beautiful. I mean, I mean, part of you just doesn't want, I don't want to disrupt the bottle in any way, but all right, I'm gonna make a go of it, Jay, already.
Vanessa Kitty just jumped in and said, hey.
Look, hi Vanessa Kitty. So look, they make it very easy for me. They put this little zip thing. Look at that. It's almost like having a zipper. Boom, there we go. And a
yeah, you're not gonna have any problem with it. And the other thing that I always love about these is they have that really heavy foil on there. I mean, it weighs a couple of ounces when you pop it off.
All right, let's see what we can make. Oh, that was a good one.
That was nice.
Oh.
I see that face.
Yep. Okay. I'm gonna put a couple glugs in. Here we go.
Glug. I don't hear any glugging.
You can hear the glugging?
Oh, you have headphones on, so naturally.
Right. Yeah.
So okay. So let me grab mine up. Let's see. Make sure. Yeah, this is. I grabbed two different Glencairns and made sure that I wasn't going to mix them up. But this is a fresh Glencairn. And are you ready, Kitty?
I am. Doesn't matter how far away I am. It still upsets me every time you toss a bottle of bourbon in the air.
Well, I don't have that much, but I figured we'd take a page from my Whiskey She Wines. And I was going to try and get my wife to come down here. Hey, Jane, you want to come down and have a high drink of bourbon with us?
No.
That was my 11-year-old yelling. I didn't invite you.
Sam was declined on my behalf.
My wife says it was declined on her behalf.
Yeah, but also, you know, I don't appreciate it.
Well, that's how Whiskey She Wine got so popular, is they got his wife to come in and drink. And so we are live, and so we can see you make funny faces at the camera. No, she says no. I'm sorry. Oh, my gosh.
Yes.
Oh, my gosh. That is delightfully subtle.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Well, and you know, and I have some, you know, commentary prior to. I think what I put out there was to stag or not to stag. You know, that is the question. And of course, you know, we always have a bunch of humorous people put some commentary out there. But I mean, it's become so difficult to get any part of the BTAC off a lineup. And you
have to pay an arm and a leg if you get lucky. And
it's discouraging. I mean, it'd be, well, one, it's hard to get, and two, when you do find them, I think I told you, I know where there's 3 bottles right now on the shelf, $750 in a store, and they've been there since I've moved here. I don't think they're ever going to go away unless somebody completely, gets it for maybe a fundraiser. That would, that's still a lot of cash outlay, but that's always so disappointing. So then you hear a lot of folks talk about, the hype is, obviously it's a $99 bottle, supposed to be. I will tell you, I paid $150 for it, and I'm not, and that's a price I was willing to pay. That was, in 2019, and that was, pretty. I thought that was a great price. I was lucky. I'm
still stuck on like the Buffalo Trace products like the Weller and stuff being 20, 23, I'm sorry, 20, 25 and whatnot. Oh, you're tasting. I'm going to shut up here.
No, I just don't keep going. I couldn't help myself.
Yeah,
I wanted to.
That's okay. No, I got a wonderful nose on mine too. Okay, so let's dive in on the nose. I'm going to shout out the first thing that I get on mine, and you tell me what you get on yours.
All right.
You want to do like a 10-second countdown?
All right. Am I doing the 10-second count?
Okay, here, I'll just do this here. You get in there too. Ready?
All right.
First thing, oranges.
Black cherries.
Dank oak. Not offensive like mildew, but like old barn wood that has weathered and has gotten wet in the rain.
Vanilla chocolate, a dark chocolate. Berries are the cherries are very strong.
Yeah, I get a sweetness. It's kind of right now a cinnamon molasses cookie.
I was just gonna say there's cinnamon that's like when you shave the cinnamon, like you take a stick and you like grate it, a grated cinnamon. You know, real pungent.
It's getting hot in this glass. I'm actually, you might notice me flinching, and which is, normally I can forego breathing oxygen when I'm diving into bourbon, but this one I'm having trouble with.
I am very, very happy with the amount of aroma coming out of this glass. It is lush. And I think because it's only 116, I think that matters. I think that what's in it is not being overpowered by, the ethanol, the alcohol. I mean, it's really fragrant. I mean, it is very, very.
Yeah, I am getting that 128 proof. Honestly, It's coming off closer to like 110, 115 for me.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still at times it feels like it is grabbing by my nose hairs and swinging like Tarzan. Or else I feel them curdling and burning at the end.
Yeah. I'm all up for the smack upside the head, you know what I mean? But it's like I think I'm really liking the fact that it's not as aggressive in the glass. That the good stuff is coming through really nicely.
Yeah, it is very subtle.
Mm-hmm.
It is definitely wearing its its beauty on the sleeve.
Well, there's so much.
There's
so much.
I gotta post what Vanessa just said, so hang on.
Well, I tell you, the vanilla is coming through real strong now. It's caramel is good. It's very pleasant. It's there, but the vanilla is. Are you familiar with like Tunisian vanilla? I mean, like it's the ultimate cooking vanilla. Okay, that is where I am in the vanilla. It's not your typical vanilla that you would just get, or even a vanilla bean. It's a very rich vanilla. I mean, it's a potpourri. I love using that word when there's so much in the glass. And
that's actually a good way to describe this. There's a lot going on in there. So I don't know if you read it, but Vanessa Kitty says sterilize sinus cavities.
I just dab a little dab behind the ear. I could enjoy this all day. This is practically. I'm just
going to give this. I'm going to give this a full breakdown on the nose. Here we go. Orange, dank, weathered oak, preferably like from a barn. There's your vanilla. Toffee, chocolate. Mallow.
Did you say mallow? Like a mallow cup?
Like a mallow cup. Vanilla, marshmallow, fluffy.
Mm-hmm.
Orange peel. Chocolate covered orange peels. Candied orange peels. A little bit of a sugar crust like on top of a pastry. High ABV alcohol, elements of char. Not much nut, but I am getting a very buttery finish on the nose. How about you?
I would say mine is, like I said, is like the first waft was the dark chocolate. Not a baking chocolate, a true dark chocolate, like a Ghirardelli dark chocolate.
Oh, the good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, and you can just, my mouth is watering, just in the nose. And I'm liking the sweet cinnamon, that Tahitian vanilla. It reminds me of like the caramels. Like if you take one of those caramels with the white swirl in it and you warm it up in your hand, that caramel is what's coming through, but it's toned down a little bit. I just know it's going to be chewy when I take a drink.
Gotcha.
I'm really, I'm not, even at 116 should be for most people, would be a very high proof. And at 116 in this glass is not evident at all. All of the fragrance from everything, those dark cherries, it's kind of like what the chocolate covered cherries that you get at Christmas time. It's very, all of the flavors are standing on their own. It's very, very fragrant. A little bit of that cinnamon. I'm not getting a lot of baking spice, but it's not going towards maple. It is definitely caramel. I mean, and the colors are really nice, dark amber. I mean, it's really decadent. And I am really happy that I got the 2019. I chose to open it instead of the 2020. I mean, I figured since you were doing the higher proof, I would go ahead and go with the lower proof. I mean, this being the lowest proof that George T. Stagg that they released in the BTAC from the George T. Stagg lineup. This is I'm really liking it, and I can't wait to drink it.
All right, I feel like we've tortured our audience who have watched us long enough. Let's dive in, shall we?
Okay.
I mean, one does not rush something like George T. Stagg. One savors it.
Mm. Wow.
That is a cornucopia. That is all over the place. Wow. I mean, it's hot enough that I sucked in some air like that. Mm-hmm. But yet the flavors are still going.
All right. So that chocolate cherry, I was talking about, and the cinnamon, it's there, but it's very aggressive. It's very aggressive. It's very aware. I mean, it's like kind of hanging around. The heat is really nice. I mean, at 116, it drinks a little spicier, a little more fire than I was expecting, and it kind of keeps building. It's very smooth in my mouth. Tongue is dry, and I'm getting now, I think as a result, my leather and some char, and the oak are coming. I mean, it's coming, but
there's a ton of buttery leather, char, oak. There's that orange flavor still just lingering. It wore that 128, and boy, was it hot. It's still lingering. I am going to read this comment real quick, and we'll take a break, and we'll both review this fully. But Vanessa said, I see that face. Vanessa says, ever make your own chocolate-covered cherry cordials at Christmas? I make them every month or two ahead of time.
Can I get on your list?
I have never made my own chocolate-covered cherries. I've had homemade chocolate-covered cherries before, but no, never tried it. I've found quite a few recipes, but I've never done it.
I'd take a little sip. Try it. Try it again.
My mentor, John Hughes, would make all kinds of bourbon-based chocolates or pastries and everything. And there was, you'd bring in with cakes that were made from like super high ABV, and you'd literally get drunk off of them.
Well, and if I have to say, like pitch my mom, we have a family recipe. It's called fudge meltaways, and it has coconut, walnut, dark chocolate, and this vanilla cream, kind of like cream cheese and layer in between. And it's you put it in the refrigerator, so it's served really nice and and cold. And if I had to say, this is all of that in the glass. I mean, like it really matches up because of the like all the nuts, the chocolate, There's no berry in that particular dessert, but I'm okay. Now that second sip, I think I could probably, this is one of the best. This is really, I'm going to go out there on a limb. I like this better than my handy.
Okay, and you're a big handy fan.
Yeah, I do. And
Okay.
I mean, and that's
Tom's handy. She's a huge fan of that, folks. Huge hand.
I mean,
Okay.
it's a different experience, but this is so pleasant and so flavorful. And I mean, and whether people are like, okay, overhyped, I don't think so. I think people use the word overhyped, and maybe, J.O., tell me if you think this. They use overhyped because people are paying so much money for this bottle. It's like, that's just too much money to pay in the hundreds of dollars for anything that should be $99, and it's just now it's overhyped. But as a result of, so at my $150, this is one of the best bottles I've had. I mean, this is really, really great. And the second sip is coated my mouth. It's a really, really nice mouth feel. It's watering. The flavors are hanging around. So like that chocolate, the berry, they're there, and they were aggressive, but it released itself into some mint and clove, the cinnamon, the baking side of it is coming out. It's just really well done in how it's developing, and everything has been a really nice surprise and very pleasant. I mean, and I like the proof at 116. Now, of course, when I opened the 2020 with my nephew at his wedding, I'll have a review on that too. So I would like a little more intensity from a heat standpoint, because I do like a higher proof, but I think the trade-off for the flavors is spot on. I hope they do another 116 or in that vicinity.
Nice. Okay. Let me dive in here. Wash. Okay. So here we go. This is the 2013 edition of 128.2. And here we go.
And here we go.
Subtle on the front. When I swallow, that's when the heat, pins and needles come in. Builds on the palate with a large butteriness. You can kind of tell by my face I'm experiencing the Kentucky hug. Char, butter. There's that old oak, a dusty, dusty rye. Orange makes a play in. It is a sweet, bitter orange. The char is making it all start out like a very sweet, dehydrated one that then rolls into a bitter orange peel. On top of that, now it is a black walnut, which is very bitter, very dry. Tons and tons of tannins. Vanilla wafers, or those vanilla wafer cookies, like you get in banana pudding. Very dry on the palate, but yet a buttery undertone. My mouth is very dry from the tannins, but yet it is so buttery. It's almost like an oxymoron going on there, but here's a moron that's doing it. Very, very unique. It's finishing in a shortbread, a buttery shortbread, but yet the heat is still there. It's slowly fading out on my palate. It's still there. It's still going.
Wow.
I'm kind of, you might notice I'm doing that.
Yeah.
Like what they say in some of those classes, that when you're supposed to drink the bourbon, you're supposed to go, I've never got that, and I never understood that, but I kind of understand it on this one. It's involuntary, it's but it's a very good going on there.
So tell me a little more about your finish, because my finish is very interesting. Are you gonna go, or am I?
Minty.
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 Okay.
Fresh mown mint. I didn't let that warm up on my palate like I did the last one. I just kind of took it down.
Mm-hmm.
It is very minty, bitter. I'm kind of finding it hard to talk right now because my palate is constricting from the ABV,
Mm-hmm.
which has been a while since I've had anything do that. You know, I drink a lot of barrel proof. And so
Mm-hmm.
I think, honestly, being the very end of this barrel, I'm getting that spider, which for those who don't know, the spider is all the leftovers in the bottom of the glass. And it bites when you drink it. Okay, so real quick, Vanessa Kitty says, yes, when you need water to replenish moisture after high proof stuff. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Only I don't want to wash the flavor out, even though I feel like I desperately need a drink. I'm not exactly choking away, but it is.
You're a little red.
I can tell. It is hot in my house right now. I just have
okay.
the windows open. It was a beautiful day, and so I just decided to air the house out, not turn the air conditioner on, and it reached 90 here in Cincinnati today.
I know. I saw that. I was jealous. I mean, it was 80 to 85 here.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to try this one more time, see if I can actually get you an end. Bitter mint. Almost like NyQuil. You know, the green NyQuil.
Mm-hmm.
Medicinal. That is underneath the finish, or is right on the top of it when I just took a sip of it. But when I warm it on my palate, that's when, you know, people are like, how come you're getting such a different flavor from the other? Mm-hmm. Think of it like when you eat something hot versus cold. What I do is if you take it and you savor it on your palate, the alcohol is numbing your palate. And so you're able to get past the sting, the bitter flavors, and you can discern the goodness behind it. However, I know that some people would say that there's no good in anything that is this high proof. I beg to differ. And I don't want to sit here and gush over something that feels like it's a unicorn. Because, you know, for me, I was a fan of Stagg before it got popular.
Right.
But for me, George T. Stagg, Happy Van Winkle, it just feels like I was a fan when it was an indie rock band. Then it made it big, and it just feels like whenever I drink it now, a modern day release of it, it's somebody doing a cover band of it. And it just feels like a poor impersonation. And sometimes they might do all the right notes, but when you go back, and if you're lucky enough to actually enjoy some of the original back from the noughties and the 90s, then you will see there's a massive, massive difference. But still, it's damn good whiskey. It
is. Yeah. I mean, and I would never, ever pay the exorbitant dollar amount. I think that is throwing money after something that we could find in another bottle at a far lesser price. The finish on this, Gio, is very interesting because it's really, really long. And it's surprisingly subtle. However, my tongue kind of got a little numb, and I feel like that's like a little more of the spice, the clove, the cinnamon, and a mint, like a real strong mint, kind of coming together.
So you are getting the mint in there as well.
Anise candy. You know what I mean? It's like, so like when you suck on that, or on a peppermint, all of a sudden it's like your tongue kind of gets a little like burnt, but it's numb. Yes. And I really enjoyed the finish. I didn't feel it was a long, slow, developed, intentional finish, which the warmth is nice, but there's no real hug. There was no. The proof is 116. That's probably the reason why. But I really enjoyed every aspect of the visual, the nose, the palate, my finish. I really enjoyed this, and I wish that it was something I could get my hands on again without having to empty my bank account. So
empty your bank account or just travel all across the backwoods of everywhere just to try and find one. It would just be so nice. It
would be, exactly. I mean, this is, those, you're exactly right. I mean, the hunt for the unicorns is isn't anything I do. It's the accidental surprise of finding something and have it be priced properly anymore. That's that's the unicorn. That's the thrill.
That's the joy of the hunt.
Like, exactly.
When you stumble across that one that you did not know was there. And see, for me, I just don't limit it to bourbons. I search for any kind of rare gin, liqueurs. Quite often I travel across the nation, up north, south, east, west. And so when I go I stop at liquor stores, preferably in smaller communities rather than the huge chains. And I will find like unknown liqueurs, unknown gins. And so that's when you find fun stuff. Like I found this sarsaparilla root beer flavored liqueur that just blew my mind. I mean, it was crazy good. It was out of up near Connecticut. It was in the Connecticut area. I want to say in the New Hampshire area of down there.
Is that where you found that Michter's at the same time?
Oh yeah, that's a different area, different store, but the same area where I found that 10-year-old Michter rye single barrel, which I still have that bottle. All right, so do you want to put a splash of water in this?
Absolutely.
You do? Okay, let's try it then. I'm gonna I came ready for it. That brought out a ton of toffee. That opened the butter up like a buttercup.
All right, so for me, I finally found things that would be the leach from the barrel. Finally, the oak, the char, some smoke. Interesting, because it was all floral.
That made it, oh my God. I needed every bit of that on the nose until I tasted it.
It tricked you.
It totally tricked me. I've drunk a lot of bourbon, and it's very rare something like that does anything to me.
Wow.
Whew.
Okay, it got better. I mean, and it got better only because a few of what should have been notes in a 15-year-old bottles, that oak, the char, the toast of the that charcoal, smoky, all that showed up with a little bit of water. It wasn't as evident previous, in the just at regular proof. But just for education purposes, I like to ask you questions whether I know the answers or not. But what uncut, on the bottle it has words like uncut, unfiltered. So tell us about that.
That is whenever they left all the char, the barrel particles. I'm still learning to talk after that steam.
La 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 la.
Yeah, my tongue is going to be doing a gecko, kind of thing. But it's where they do something called chill filtration, where they pour all the barrels into a vat and they chill the vat. And all the bourbon and the fatty acids separate, because the fatty acids, alcohol won't freeze, but the fatty acids, the barrel particles, the char, all those, they don't freeze, but they gloop together and to the bottom. And they pull the plug at the bottom of it and just let that oil just right out of the bottom, and they plug it up before the bourbon runs out. Mm-hmm. So they're getting rid of all the buttery flavor, all the particles. It's quite often that when before it became well known, people would buy a bottle, and this was at the party stores, about 8 years ago, 10 years ago, and they would bring back bottles and they say there's stuff floating in here, and it looked like pieces of cardboard floating in there. Mm-hmm. And everybody was like, oh, let's get you a refund. But our sommelier, the guy who, this was before it was common knowledge. And I didn't know. I thought, oh man, those are big pieces of cardboard floating in there. And he's just like, no, that's, and he explained, that's flavor, is what he started out by saying.
That's lunch.
Yeah. And he explained chill filtration, how that's the flavors, the barrel fibers. And so you get one of those, you're going to get flavor that is just going to be like an explosion of like biting into a juicy fruit, is what he's, like.
Nice.
And so he definitely got me to thinking, and it changed the way I thought about it. But it's cool to see it make a comeback. The only drawback is the reason they started doing it is because when oxygen hits it, it turns cloudy. And so it's still drinkable, but it's one of those ones that just doesn't look appealing. It looks like,
right,
stagnant mud water. All right, so for this thing for me, it just made it buttery. It made it it opened it right up. It mellowed it on the nose, but however, soft, butter, oak, fire, stings, building, getting on it's trickling down the throat. Very, very hot. Orange peel. Very bright yellow flowers, like meadow flowers. Goldenrod, a little bit of green stem, that dry oak, very golden now, golden oak, honey settling, drying out, becoming more of like a buttercup, very pollen heavy. That I'm getting that which is the char.
Yum, yum, yum. The yum, yum, yum.
They're like that internet cat. Yum, yum,
yum, yum, yum, yum.
That's what it felt like there. But that's the way it just kind of ended. It was just like, I got to the end and it was just like, net.
Yep, yep, yep. Yep. Well, I'm very, adding a little bit of water. I would not, I like that it released, but I think that that's the first time I had Stagg. And I think that if I went back and started over, I think I would have been able to draw out of my palate the leather, the oak, some of the, I think I would have been able to discover it was there, but I probably needed to have, a lot more, a little more soaking of my palate for a little longer. But I liked the mouthfeel, and I liked the burn, and I liked the proof at 116. And I think adding water to this brought it down to something that was uneventful. And considering
I can see that it still had an individuality to it. But again, I don't know how much of that is because I'm at the very end of this.
Right.
I'm getting that spider element. But
well, and my bottle is so much lower proof than yours as well. So me putting water in this made it, like I said, it was uninspired. I didn't like. I liked it, but it was not.
Yeah, there's been such good ones where we put that water in there, and it's just like,
wow, yeah,
it's just like you're a very fancy lady. Those blooming tea buds. Yes, they look like a pearl or a marble, and you drop them in there, and when that hot water hits, they just flower open into these gorgeous tea blossoms, and you serve it in a glass teapot, and you pour the tea that way. That is, to me, what a lot of bourbons do when I add water to them.
Right.
And the way you're describing with yours is it just feels like it just killed any flavor you had.
Well, it introduced some things that I believe were already there, Jo. It's just like, your palate is so experienced, and I'm still learning. So I got hints of those things. But if I probably would go back now, like because now the bottle's open, it'll be like my handy. I'm down to that one. I'm down to the spider as well. It's kind of like the worm in tequila, but different, right? Yeah. But I'm down to nothing, and I'm going to go ahead and do a side by side with just out of curiosity, just to see what is high proof. But if I went back, I know that I would discover a little stronger those notes, but they were still subtle. And I mean, and I did like that the water brought out the woodiness, the smokiness, and leather. I like that. A tobacco, I like that. Those are the grittier notes for me. I when I find those, it's like, ooh, and when it's all in, like I think I know I didn't use nearly as many adjectives as you did, but
I'm paid by the adjective.
There were so many in the glass, in every phase of the discovery, and that tells me this was complex, this was thought out, and this is why Buffalo Trace is what Buffalo Trace and their lineup is extraordinary. This is an excellent bottle, and I don't care. Like I said, it's only hype if you're paying $700 for it. I mean, it's like
Never.
and never will do it. Never. None of them are worth that.
Not unless if we're like hit with massive inflation, and that's like the new $20.
Right.
All right. All right. So we have reached 40 minutes.
Oh, okay.
This has been a wonderful one. This was a lot of fun for me. I hope it was for you as well.
Yeah.
Next week, I know what I want to review. I don't know what you are, but I'm hoping to dive into this one. I've had this sitting. I've been waiting to open this one. It is an 11-year-old Town Branch whiskey at cask strength, finished in a Oloroso sherry barrel. It is rocking in at that 110.3 proof.
Oh, okay.
I like Town Branch. I love the Alt Tech. One of my favorite beers in the world is KBB. And so I'm looking forward to trying this one. Will it hold up to the hype? I don't know. What about you?
I think I may open up. I just got the Fusion 4 Barstow Bourbon Company, and I like their lineup. I like their creativity, and I know they're starting to do some of their own stuff that they're not, which is good. They're distilling their own. But I'm going to probably go there. But I'm wondering, when am I going to see my Harvey Wallbanger?
Oh Jesus.
Not tonight.
I completely forgot. Good night, guys.
I figured it would take a while to figure out what to do with a Harvey Wallbanger. Well, you're busy. You're a busy man, J.O.
I did design 2 new cocktails for.
I know you were telling me about that. That's fabulous.
That's my newest thing, is that they're having me help work with wedding couples that are coming in, and they tell me an idea, and I design designer cocktails for them, which is a lot of fun. And because I'll start with a base, and I'll come over and I'll say, okay, this is just a base taste. It's too sweet, too hot. What do you like? And a lot of times, it's like, could you make it more boozy? Could you make it more sweet? Oh my God, and it's just a lot of fun. I do really enjoy it. I'm looking forward to doing it more and more.
J.O. looks like he may be gone. Are you there?
Am I gone?
No, all of a sudden you froze. Hey, I also, so my next event, so it's like I told you, I have 8 ladies. So what I will do is maybe share what my flight lineup is going to be, my blind lineup, because I have a lot of young, I should say not young. I should say I have a lot of non-bourbon drinkers, and I like to try and find something for people who say, oh, I don't like whiskey, I don't like bourbon, I don't like the brown spirits. And I try to find something that they will enjoy. So I want to share my flight and my logic behind it. So before I do it, because this next weekend will be one flight, and I have one every Saturday almost this month. So I have a different group of people. And so you can, and if it's wrong, then I'll take your advice, Mr. Bourbon Know-It-All, to help me build a better flight for non-bourbon drinkers. So.
All right, so let me see if I can do that right. Can you build a better bourbon flight for your non-bourbon drinkers? If so, dial your own Bourbon Know-It-All, because I'm Jonathan J.O. Owen, and I'm a Bourbon Know-It-All.
And I'm Kitty Kennedy, and I'm trying to be a Bourbon Know-It-All.
I know I am, because I had a couple of shots of this, so I know I'm a Bourbon Know-It-All.
You've had this time,
folks. Yeah, we'll see you hopefully 1 week from today.
Yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, and do all that stuff that you're supposed to do. It's like a disco dance. Click, ring the bell, whatever is supposed to happen. And then follow us on our social media, the Bourbon Know-It-Alls. We're out there on Twitter and Instagram and all those various locations. Jo, it's always good to see you.
Always good to see you too, Kitty.
Yeah.
Peace. Take care,
Cheers.
guys.
Cheers to you. And remember, life's short. Drink the good stuff.
My glass is empty, but cheers.
Cling.